Okay.
Doug isn't here.
But we're,
So that's
you're
that's
not,
a quorum.
you don't count.
And,
But I think you're 7, so I think you.
Doesn't matter. There you go.
Okay.
Here we go.
I think it's 4.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Thursday, July the 11th. It's 4 o'clock, and this is the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to mention that the press and the public have been duly notified of the meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. I don't know that there are any citizens' comments. Is that correct? Okay. All right.
What about the letter that we got?
Email.
The
The
email
email
that we
letter?
got from
Mr.
Smiley.
Smiley?
Jim Smiley? Yes.
Were we going to talk about that at all?
Would we?
I know you I think you responded, but I was wondering if we were going to be,
You know, the topic that he was addressing was climate action.
right,
Should we maybe talk about that when we talk about climate action?
citizen comments. So, yeah, we'll wait.
Oh.
He's not here.
I usually think about that as when somebody comes and addresses the committee
Okay.
in person. Am I?
No, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
sometimes they will email Nicole comments specifically as a public comment. They
Okay.
get entered in, but not
Okay.
just an email.
Yes, I
That's
don't
my-
think that was a public
that's my bad.
comment. Yeah. No, I think that was just a comment that was directed to the members of the committee. Yeah, but thank you. Douglas sent out the minutes, or Nicole, sorry, sent out the minutes from the previous meeting and wanted to just see if there were any additions or corrections to the minutes.
I read through it.
No.
I looked.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Presentations, we don't have any presentations that I'm aware of. So let's move right into old business. And the first item under old business is wildlife.
Okay. I'm happy to say that Public Works has anchored the benches at the Native Plant Garden, and they look great. All that needs to be done is for the people who donated them. They've ordered plaques, and I think they're just going to do that themselves, just take a screwdriver and put it on. I guess you'll be hearing from us if we need help, but I think that's all done. So everything's finished. Some of the plants are actually finished because they're annuals, like the black-eyed Susans are fading, and the Gaillardia, the firewheel Indian blanket flowers were the wrong species. Well, actually, they were the right species, but the wrong type. They weren't the native ones, so they died. They were not, they're annuals. So we talked to Charlene Johnson, and she agreed that we should just pull them up and put our beach ones. I have gotten lots of seeds from my yard and just replaced them. So next year, we're going to have the right ones, and that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year, what comes back and what doesn't. But anyway, the purple martins are, as you know, they nested in every single gourd. We had the ones that were old enough banded on June the 8th. The last 2 broods who have young parents that didn't start till late due to fledge around the 14th and the 21st of this month, and then they'll all be gone. So it was a very successful season for them as well. We are awaiting our 50th turtle nest on the Isle of Palms. We've got 49 now. We've had to move just about every one of them because of the renourishment projects and because the turtles are always laying them down where the trucks drive and where the tide is going to get them. So we've relocated just about
That's just coincidental.
everything.
They just
The
order-
turtles love the Breach Inlet area,
They love the inlet.
and they're nesting down there all the time. And those nests would be fine, a lot of them, like at 8th Avenue, there's one turtle that finds a beautiful spot every time, and we have to disappoint our volunteers and say, nope, there's going to be sand here, you can't do that. Let's see, we did a sea stroll today for the rec center, and let's see, yeah, the nests are due to start hatching next week. First one is at property owner's beach
How
house.
many people attended the Sea Stroll today?
64 people, 17
Wow.
registered with the rec center, and 64 people showed up.
Whoa.
Some of the people just wandered up and said, "Oh, this looks like fun." But, you know, we welcomed them. Tammy from the rec center wrote everybody's name down and gave them all turtle brochures, so they got a good education. They
That's great.
had to listen to me talk for an hour. They're still alive. And the last thing is the breach inlet renourishment project. The last I heard from the Corps of Engineers, they're not going to start until August on Sullivan's Island, mid to late August. And then by the time they get to Isle of Palms, it'll be sometime in September, they're saying now. Do you know anything different from that, Douglas?
I have not heard that. I have not heard September. I've heard,
That's what Alan Shirey, the project leader for the Corps,
For Alan?
told me.
Oh.
Alan, he's the one in charge of the Corps of Engineers project here, and he said mid to late August for the 3 blocks on Sullivan's Island to begin. And then, who knows, in September. And our turtle patrol ends and our nests end on August 15th, so that's good. But the bad thing is we will not have people out there doing any surveys after that. But they have to pay people to stay up all night and monitor the beach. But it's not likely that any turtles. So unlike Folly, who has very few nests because they're dredging on the beach right now all through the nesting season, we dodged that bullet, and it'll be over by the time they get there to do the work. And all the nests will be safely moved by then. So that's all I know.
I did have a question about that, Douglas,
Yes.
because I know that at one meeting that I listened to, I think it was the Beach Preservation Ad Hoc Committee, Pat O'Neill from Sullivan's Island came, and the discussion was about who would receive the renourishment first, whether it was Isle of Palms or Sullivan's Island. And so I thought that Sullivan's Island was going to be first on the list, but it sounds like
They
that's
left
not
it
the
up to
case.
the contractor.
right. Yeah, they've gone back and forth a little bit. We've been asking to be first. Sullivan's was agreeable to letting us go first. The contractor, by just his work process, wanted to do Sullivan's first. We asked them to do Isle of Palms first. Last we had heard, they had agreed to that. But this is, so it has really bounced
I
back.
can
and
forward
forth.
his emails that I'm getting to set up the whole system of who's going to call who and what
Okay.
happens. And I can send you his message that told me August for Sullivan's
Okay.
and September for Isle of Palms. I know that's not going to make people happy on the
No.
Isle of Palms.
No, that is a month later than we had hoped and expected.
And hurricane season,
Or 6 months, depending on when you
Yeah,
count it.
yeah.
Yeah.
a peak.
And is there an impact on the success of the renourishment if it occurs during hurricane season in the fall when we have our king tides?
I wouldn't think so. I don't know. But I mean, I do know that a storm is going to impact negatively, I think,
No matter
I
what.
believe regardless of how much prior to the storm it got placed, I think it's going to have the same effect, but I don't know that for certain. It's my guess.
Yeah. Anything else for wildlife? Laura, did you have anything?
No.
Okay. So let's move on to litter. There has been a lot of discussion about litter because it seems like that we've just had a lot of it this year. It's just, I don't know if I know we've had a change in, with our contractor that was doing the removal or emptying the cans on the beach, but it almost feels like that more people are leaving more stuff on the beach as well. I've never seen as many beach chairs by the cans. Just, it happens to be like any day of the week. So I know that we've had a little bit of discussion about that. And we've also had some questions about whether or not the type of can that we're using is the best and whether or not the placement of the can is the best. So the questions that we've had about placement of the cans relate to, currently the cans are located at the beach access on the beach. And there has been some question about would we be better served to have the cans at the road end of the beach access. And I know that Susan Smith was had commented about that in an email to us, and her general sense, without data to support, is that it might be more beneficial to leave the cans on the beach in terms of encouraging people to use the cans, but we don't have data that supports that. I guess there are some, like Sullivan's Island, I think, leaves their cans at the roadway.
And it makes a very trashy beach.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
it's
that was,
terrible.
that's my gut feeling, but I don't have anything to support that except it's just my gut feeling. Yes, Doug?
Yeah, I remember when I were first here, but probably about 4 years ago maybe, we had the cans on the beach and at the road. And I know there's an expense to that.
Most
Yeah,
places.
I like that, and here's my reasoning. When I'm on the beach, I'm eating a peach, I have a pit, I have this, I'll walk to the garbage can, get up and stretch and put it in there. But if I'm, that's a local say, right? But if I'm driving a car or something where I've got a lot of stuff, I'm gonna unload stuff at my car. And if there's a garbage can there, I'm gonna take and just throw it in my car. So I think, I don't know what the expense of it is, but I liked when there were garbage cans on both ends.
Do we have garbage cans on the roadway at the major accesses?
On the eroding end, we do.
Okay.
They're on the roadside on this end of the island. Everywhere.
All of
and that's-
Ocean Boulevard has them on the street, too.
Right.
42nd.
Yeah, that's what, Ocean Boulevard, kind of where we're having the higher
And
tides.
lots of them on Palm, like at 28.
42nd has one on the roadside.
Not every path.
Right.
Yeah, the concern if you just put them at the road is the road's gonna, that's what people see when they first come in. You're gonna get that clutter we have on the beach now, all that crap laying in front of, by people's houses on the right of ways, you're gonna get complaints. And if you do it just by the beach, that's why I'm kinda suggesting that.
So the issue that we discussed this in the facilities meeting, and the issue is, there's a couple things. One, the cans that we're using now don't have lids. So any wind, it blows
Or
out.
animals, raccoons.
Animals and raccoons are getting into them.
Yep.
Coyotes are feeding off of them. They're very hard. They're sitting on the ground, so if we get a high tide that comes up there, which I've seen this happen many times.
I've seen
they
it.
tip over,
They
and now
tip
you
over.
have tons of trash.
Yep.
And it's incredibly difficult and expensive and just logistically difficult to empty them because someone has to drive on the beach to empty them.
With a specialized
With a
piece of
specialized
equipment.
piece of equipment and the tide and the,
Yeah.
turtles and birds and all of that stuff comes into that too. To me, I understand the idea that if people are, maybe people are more apt to put them in, but I think they also, at least the system that we have right now, I don't think is working because of the fact that they don't have lids and, and they're not secured in any way.
Yeah, they're light, they fall over quite
Yeah,
often.
I go to a beach in Florida where they have them like attached to a post,
Yeah.
so they're
That's what
at
I've
least
seen.
off the ground to a certain, to some point. Eventually, if a hurricane comes through, then they need to be removed completely, I guess. But anyway, the contractor that's been doing this is passed away, right?
Right.
And so his son, I think,
Yep.
is gonna continue, but we're going to fairly soon be in a place where we need to make a decision what to do next.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah,
So-
that-
Is the city starting to
So that's why.
investigate
yeah.
costs
So now it's more a question of
and replacement?
what's the best thing to do, and and it would be interesting to have some sort of data, you know, are people really that, if you're not interested in throwing away your trash at the far side of the dune, are you really gonna throw away your trash at the near side of the dune? You know, I
yeah.
mean, if
Right.
you're so
You're gonna haul it back
inclined,
to the car.
if you're so
Yeah.
inclined to
Yeah,
just
that's good.
let
Yeah.
it go and leave it on the beach, then
Yeah,
I mean, there are consultancies out there, there are people out there that provide expertise in solid waste. We could define the perfect program and do an RFP, out and let out an RFP and see what kind of ideas we get, or an RFQ, request for qualification or information, and get some people to provide some insights or thoughts. Obviously, we can look at Sullivan's Island and other folks, but there are ways to get input
yeah, I mean,
and ideas from
mean-
people who have done this.
most beach communities most beaches I've been to do not have trash directly on the beach, trash cans, and I think probably because of the issues with
Yeah.
the wind and the tide and
So
emptying the trash. You know, the beach I'm talking about that has the cans up on posts also has driving on the beach, so that makes it super easy for the trash people to come because
just
everybody
driving
can
by.
drive on the
Yeah.
beach.
Just had a quick question. Going back to the amount of litter, is the population of what we've got in terms of rentals and beach use right now up? Is there a correlation? Have you seen a correlation between the number of people that are coming versus the amount of litter? Because it seems to me that, like, when I go out of 27th where I live, that used to be a little bare. Most of the people were down here. Seeing a pretty good distribution of people all up and down the beach this year.
we're hearing that anecdotally, that people just think that this year has had more people on the island this summer than prior years. You know, it's probably been a few years of, seems like, there was some years where we had a slow spring because of weather, there was COVID, there was kind of a culmination of things, but we're hearing a lot that this is a peak of people, maybe ever. The tonnage is up a little bit I think it's going to be one of our highest tonnage months in history. So we do kind of think that we're kind of at a new all-time high.
So the advertising programs are working for promoting the beach and getting
And Mount
people out here.
Pleasant has way more
Right,
people
Mount
now.
Pleasant's growing.
yeah, and Mount
Yeah.
Pleasant has way more
And-
people now.
By this
Tossing
house,
the-
you can go to the beach.
Because the information I have is that actually rentals are down this year. And a lot of that is because of the erosion. There's information out there and there's, word of mouth and people are hearing that the beaches here are having issues. And so I've talked with several realtors and even people that do some short-term rental of their property, and rentals overall are kind of down like 30-ish%.
That's what my neighbors who rent say.
Yeah,
So then it's-
so I
She's having a
think,
bad year. She's
I
only got
think-
2 more
I don't
rentals
think
the rest
it's-
of the summer.
really, I
Yeah.
think it's more people coming from more of our local area. And, there are renters here too, but I think I'm just curious, was there any kind of a study done on 4th of July activity this year versus last year?
I'm not aware of a study. Again,
Like,
everything
did
I
the
kind of heard
police-
was anecdotal, that it was just packed. Kind
Yeah.
of
Well, and we know
wall-to-wall
what
people and.
they picked up with the cleanup crew, because they document that. But-
So-
Yeah, we'll have some,
That's
we
fine.
could get, traffic counts are available, we could get tonnage at the end of the month, that'll be available. There'll be a few kind of metrics that we can look at to verify.
It just sounds to me like there needs to be starting to do some research on different cans for
So
next year.
to the points that Katie has kind of brought up, we have, there's been a handful of things, the number of, just the sheer number of cans, we've gone from 57 cans to, we think, close to 200 cans
Wow.
in the past 10 years, so just the volume is up. The issue of having a very specialized machine that can go on the beach it can dump a can, and it has a modular construction that it can take the dumpster off of its back and then put an empty one on and then go do it again. These people are having, so it's a specialized machine out of Ohio. The person that operates it has to many times operate it in the middle of the night. They have to operate it 7 days a week in our peak. They then have to get special they're called out for special pickups. So in addition to the all-night work, 7 days a week, they also are kind of called and they're told, hey, it's overflowing here. So that job has been held by a local retired person for the last two contractors, been kind of the same type of person that's been on the beach already. So we're a little bit fearful that trying to find that replacement is going to be very challenging, never mind the machines, the higher tides, just the amount of kind of work and the type of work it is, we think it's going to be very challenging. So what we would like to do is, because we hear this question about, what does it do to move the cans from the beach side to the roadside? If we can move them to the roadside, it becomes a very conventional trash collection sequence where our trucks or somebody else's trucks are coming by, they're getting serviced. It can be done independent of tides, of specialized cans, without specialized equipment, by existing staff. So it would certainly be operationally much more simplified. What we would like to do is create kind of a study area to really analyze what does it do to pull the cans off of the beach and put them up at the roadside? Is there an increase in the amount of garbage on the beach side? What we think that would take is somebody who has a keen eye on a particular beach. So we want to identify where we would do this pilot program. We've kind of talked about maybe 25th. It's a well-used path. I think that Susan Smith uses that path, but we wanted to kind of identify a popular path and a person that we know has an eye on that path already kind of daily and would notice if we move the cans, they would have an eye that would notice, okay, it got significantly worse. Or they could tell us, there was minimal change, there was significant change. So that's what we would like to do. We're under our existing contract with the current service provider for one more year till next September. Next September, we want to be in a position where if we want to make a change, we've kind of done our research and we know the change that we want to make. So.
Do we use the open cans because of the contractor that we're using?
Yes, that
Okay.
machine specifically, and that's another kind of limitation, is that machine it can't be operated with a lid. So if it were to go on the roadside, it would be a traditional can. We'd cut a hole in the top of it so that people don't have to manhandle the lid, which they seem to be. But we think it would be less prone for birds getting in. Probably still get some amount of that, but we think it would be reduced a bit. But we know, Doug made reference to it's now out on the roadside. That'll have its own challenges. In your packet is kind of a concept of how we might put a trash can corral behind a beach access sign. There's kind of our traditional beach access signs with a corral behind it. So we could do, as much as we can to make the, I think it's the.
I don't think
We didn't.
I didn't get that.
I
We
didn't
didn't
get
get
that
Hey,
either.
just right there. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That was not in your packet?
No, it was not.
Oh. When did you send it? Was it with the packet?
Yeah.
When you sent the packet?
With the agenda, we didn't. I
I
didn't.
think-
So is the package just the agenda?
In
No,
the
it's-
in the
it had-
minutes.
it had the different sections that we wanted to talk about for the website. The shorebirds, the turtles, but,
Okay. Well, there wasn't a lot else there was the GEL, we'll go through it, but this is kind of the concept, which is our traditional sign, and then this is the kind of bird's eye view. It would have cans behind it in a corral.
oh, okay.
But we need to identify the person, the,
Should we
and the
also-
access.
Should we also put some sort of signage up that says, you know, please don't trash the beach? There are trash cans at the
hiking trails,
road.
pack it in, pack it out.
You know, yeah, and then also, nobody wants your broken chair.
Yeah.
Just take it to the trash.
We
It's
want
like,
it-
there's so many people that, I swear, I think people think that someone's going to use that.
We definitely want to minimize the debris. We only, if it can't fit in this can, you need to take it home with you. But-
Right.
And to your point, they think they're kind of doing a favor by leaving.
Well, no, I'm saying like on the beach, like to tell people, if we
Yes.
for this, you know, we do have trash cans, but they've been moved.
Yeah,
You know, if you do go to these types of cans, it's just regular garbage pickup. You don't even
Yes.
hear
Yeah.
from a contractor. There's an
well,
advantage to that.
the issue with
That's-
this
they
is
can-
it's,
Yeah.
Public Works can do it.
we think it'll be 5 days a week. Currently, the yellow cans are 7 days a week. They're set up to do these 2 days a week. So there would be some operational, we'd have to figure that out. But it would be a lot easier to figure out 3 additional pickups of traditional trash cans on the road than it would to find a contractor. And we may try to find a new contractor to do the beach work, but it is expensive. It's kind of a unicorn of an operator. We're not terribly confident that we will find that. I will say Kiowa also does it. Kiowa's
Roadside or beach?
beachside.
Beachside.
So they have a contractor that's not our contractor that is doing the beachside. They are doing a more traditional can with a lid. So they do have some piece of equipment, and I think that it may be, they have a more stable beach access to lead to it. We don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they do have beachside trash collection with lidded cans.
So we don't know who that contractor is?
We do.
We do?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's Trident is the,
Oh, really?
is the contractor.
That's down in Kiowa.
That's who is in Kiowa. So I think on this issue, we have wanted to involve Susan, asked her if she could come to this meeting. She's out of town. I think she would be a good, I mean, I can't think of anybody that has more eyes on trash on the beach than her, so.
The trash.
Yeah.
And I am kind of thinking that we want to choose her specific beach path, which I think is 25th, so she doesn't know any of this yet, so don't tell her before. But we're hoping that she might be a willing part of this pilot program, but that's kind of what we're thinking, but we wanted to get, we
So
just
we're-
don't know. We don't know if, this question about will it make things worse if we pull, that's obviously, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. What would you be asking for Susan to do?
To kind of go through with us this exercise and advise us on, first of all, if she thinks it's a bad idea to put them on the roadside, and we've talked a little bit about it, her and I, but, and then secondly, if she would be willing to participate in this pilot program and monitor an area
Okay.
that we have pulled cans off the beach and put
To
them at
see
the
if there's
roadside.
more trash.
To see if that generates more trash
On the
on the
beach.
beach. And in the meantime, the operator that's doing it, that's the other part of this, has been talked about. It was the original operator passed, this is his son. His son has a full-time job, a young family. the, as I mentioned, this work is a lot of times in the middle of the night, 7 days a week. So from my perspective, it's not a sustainable operation with just him doing it.
Okay.
He has the contract.
In this day and age, it's just not a desirable job either,
Yeah.
doing that.
So two questions I have. One is, have we talked to the people, the Trident people, who are doing Kiowa? I guess would be my first question.
We have talked to them about various things, but about what specifically?
About the possibility of having them do the litter or do the trash, empty the cans, do they provide the cans, or do we have to provide the cans?
So we would provide
With the
we
lid.
could not, if the question is, could we hire them to take the place of our current vendor?
Once their contract is over?
Next
They,
September.
yeah, they would be willing to provide us a price to do that in next September.
And would we have to purchase the cans, or do they
Yes.
provide the cans that we purchase?
Yeah, we
them?
purchased the
Okay.
can.
And how do our people in Public Works feel about the added responsibility? Because I know that they're pretty busy.
Well, I don't know that we're talking about, so what would their added responsibility be?
Well,
Because right now, I will say, they're kind of working to catch up the slack that's being left by the current operator. So there
okay.
is a lot of work that they're doing
Yeah.
that they shouldn't have to be doing
Right.
in our current kind of
Right.
emergency situation.
Right. But they would have to take on what the current operator is doing, so that would be additional.
In the future, if we were to add it to the roadside?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that-
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that it's a foregone conclusion that they would do the extra 3 days. They're doing 2 days in the summer now,
Uh-huh.
and we think that it would be an outside vendor that would do the additional pickups.
So even if it was roadside,
Yes.
we would have a
Because we're not-
different vendor
Our
rather
folks are
than
not set
having-
up 7 days a week
Okay.
for trash collection.
Okay, I didn't understand that. I thought you were looking at adding that to Public
No,
Works. Okay.
no.
Okay.
I mean, we always ask them if we can add any more work to this. And they're very accommodating, I must say. They will try their absolute best, but I think, that's weekend work, and
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that
yeah.
would be beyond what they're set up to do, but we could, we have to work that out. We have between now and 2 Septembers from now to work that out, but we would need to work that out.
So you said two, okay, so.
A year
that's
and-
about-
it's a year and a couple
of
months,
It's
yeah.
a
Okay,
year from
Okay.
this September.
Yeah, a year from this September.
okay, okay.
So we do have a little bit of time. We're trying to keep on the current provider as much as we can to keep the beaches clean, but it has been a real challenge here in the last couple of months.
Is the contract terminable if we wanted to? I know we don't want to do that. It's
Yeah.
just thinking of
For
options,
cause it is,
Okay.
and we,
not for convenience.
no,
Okay. Yeah.
it is.
Katie said it earlier, it's odd to me, and this is my own personal observation, it seems like the trash is up, but the number of chairs seems to be exponentially more. I don't know why that is.
Well, so that's another,
Not
so,
not just the chairs that are there for a long time, like they get cleared out, the next day there's 5 more. I'm like, why are there so many chairs?
being left
Discarded
Yes.
chairs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not all broken. Some of them are
perfectly good.
perfectly good chairs
Oh, well.
that people don't wish
It's a
to.
vacation, they can't
They don't
fly
have
back with
room,
it, they
or-
paid
Or maybe not even
25
room in their
bucks.
car.
People used to even abandon tents out there,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, I've seen
That's
tents.
a good point.
And these chairs are not cheap. I mean,
Not
if you
the worst
price them
chairs.
out, I mean,
No.
even the low-end chairs can be $60 for a chair.
So I will say that we used to do all of that chair debris. That chair debris is not in the current contract
Right.
with our operator.
Yep.
So Public
However-
Works does that?
They did historically, however,
They've been
our
doing it.
vendor was doing it every night, and he's a lot of times doing it in the middle of the night. He was just taking it as well. So when he passed, his son took over, and contractually, he's not obligated to do
Right.
that. He stopped providing that kind of additional service that was
Right.
being provided by his dad for free. So it has swung back to the city.
Yep.
I do think it took us a little while to figure out. There wasn't a clear handoff, like, hey, my dad was doing this, I'm not going to do it. It took us a few weeks to figure out that he wasn't doing it. We've now figured that out, so they are doing it now. But it is not at the cadence that the operator was doing it.
Right. I guess I was thinking about, should we tackle this problem a little differently? We have trash that goes in a bin and trash that doesn't go in a bin. Maybe think about those two problems differently. You know, is there a chair deposit, you know, a little bin or something where broken chairs and umbrellas go into, and that gets, you know, dealt with separately, differently, you know, just not on the beach. You know, if there's something we could do to kind of treat that
I think
differently.
we'd really like it to just not be left.
I would like that too.
At the end of the day-
But you could put those little corrals on the street. You could say, you know, this is your abandoned beach chair or whatever.
The
orphan
junk
beach
collector
chairs.
that goes down my street, if he knew about all that metal
All
out
that
there, he'd
aluminum.
be,
Yeah.
I mean, he'd
Well,
be on
that's, so maybe call it
He's in front of me,
recycle.
he's out in front of my house.
Maybe
within
it's a
30 seconds,
recycling
he's putting
bin.
anything
Toy-
out.
That guy.
We're doing toy recycling, aren't we? How's that working?
Toy,
What are we doing with the
beach toys, there's a box at
Wire into
the
the truck yesterday.
Wild Dunes and then at our
That's just
public
some
works.
guy that does that though, right? That's not, is that a city program?
That is
I think it's
that's
just,
Susan.
Yeah.
That's Susan
Yeah.
organized that.
Yeah. it's, by the way, it's buried. It's under a dune right now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's terrible. But anyway,
At Wild Dunes or at the
the one
public
at Wild
restrooms or
Dunes.
both?
The one at Wild Dunes.
Okay. Oh,
Right.
that
Toy
is.
bin?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I digress. The question, I guess, is could we create a recycle bin for beach chairs?
Yeah.
And have it at the street, and people would say, oh, if I put it in there, it's gonna get recycled as opposed to go in the city dump. It's got good metal in it. You know, somebody might wanna come pick that up, maybe a separate contractor would say, hey, once a week I'll come clear out those bins.
The challenge, potential challenges you get, say you get 50%, so now you still have chairs on the beach, and now you got chairs there.
Yeah,
People are lazy.
It's like recycling, right? Some
And I
people are gonna
do
just
think a lot
always-
of people are leaving them because.
a good idea.
They think that someone,
It's a
like,
value.
you're saying they're still in good shape, they're leaving them because they think someone's gonna use them.
right.
So maybe there is, maybe that
Well,
part
they
of it
could leave
may
them
be
at a
mostly
house.
communication related.
Yeah, if they're renting, they could leave them at the home where they're renting.
Yeah, they don't have to leave them on
I
the
think these
beach.
are people that are here for the day, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
from our perspective, we are trying to minimize the amount of stuff being handled, just for sheer efficiency and,
Yeah.
and operation,
Yeah.
and just the aesthetics of broken up stuff on the
That's-
sides of the
yeah.
road. So we do have kind of a concerted effort to clean up the aesthetics of the island. We have kind of consistently talked about a push to get just people to stop. We appreciate you recycling, but please do it at
On
your
your own.
condo or at your rental house or at your home and wherever you,
Yeah.
but just we don't want to be kind of a transfer station for
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay,
So we have thought a lot about sizing the corral so there's no additional space, signing the corral, don't leave your stuff, signing the beach, don't leave your stuff, to just try to minimize, I mean, it's, each one of these things that
Yeah.
gets left, it's an additional thing for either our staff or our hired staff to tend to, so we just really want to minimize. It's just too, and like we started out, there used to be 57 cans, now there's almost 200 cans. It's just the stuff, the volume of the stuff is just overwhelming.
Yeah, and if you look at, you really raise a good point, because if you look at it, and I just pulled it up because I haven't looked at it in a while, you look at EPA's hierarchy, first thing is source control or reduction, which means don't create the waste. Then it's what can you recycle and reuse, then it's dispose of. So I think the point about how can we encourage people, pack it in, pack it out, not to leave it, is
Right.
important. But how do we do that? You know, humans are humans. There's still people that throw their McDonald's out the window, right? When they're done. I mean, it's-
Yeah.
Still people that-
But I think I think there's a couple of threads here that are important. The solution, the pollution control, the recycling, recycling, encouraging them not to leave it, and then where's the proper placement and what type of container. But,
So the first step then, what is, I just want to kind of review what the plan is. So the first
So-
step would be to look at maybe one of the beach accesses and kind of use that as a, and kind of move the can to the roadside
Yep.
and use that as a sort of a
Pilot,
test
a test
access, a
pilot.
pilot access to monitor whether or not there's an increase in trash left on the beach when the can is moved.
Correct. And if it's okay with the group, Susan's out of town now. If she's agreeable to doing it, if she uses 25th a lot, we would kind of like to do it now while it's busy and she can get a true kind of, we don't want to do it in the middle of the winter.
Right.
No.
Right.
So I think that if, unless there's kind of an objection.
Yeah,
to
I use
doing-
25th as well. I mean, I could help her if she.
Are you there daily? Would you notice? Do you have a keen eye? I can tell you, I wouldn't notice. I would
You're
notice.
gonna trademark it, that
So
can be the bottom of the
I
bottle?
go to the pickleball court and pick up trash around the pickleball
So
court
you
while
do
I'm waiting
have
to
kind
play.
of an eye for it.
Yeah, I do pick up trash.
And you're
So
there daily?
I'm not, but I could, I could.
Make it a
could-
month, because I do think it's going to be kind of an intensive, if we're going to have a problem, it's going to be for the rest of July and probably the
Right.
beginning of August, and then it's going to.
Be a good time to check it out, yeah.
But
but,
you have
um,
kind of a good gauge of trash levels now
Mm-hmm,
out there?
yeah.
All right, we might just do it.
So, I mean, I can
How long does it take
help with
to
that or.
Get the corral built.
Well, and I don't even know for the corral.
I guess we don't even have to do that.
Yeah, I think we would just move the cans for the time being and put some signage and, because I
So
think it would just be a couple of month, because we might, in a month, say, you know what, the trash increased significantly, it's not good, we need to find a way to keep it out there.
So would you just put the cans out without the enclosure? Or-
Yeah.
I think we would
To
initially.
start? Okay.
Yeah, I think just to kind of start as soon as we could, we
Okay.
would,
I
we
do
would do
think you
that.
gotta have some sort of signage, because
Yes.
people that go down there on a regular basis, they're gonna walk up the beach with their trash, and they're gonna be like, oh, look, they took the trash can away, I'll just leave it here for now.
We hear that about dog poop bags.
It's amazing.
That's
Why-
what you find on Sullivan's, the dog poop bags,
Why is
all
that?
up and down the paths.
Why is it?
And I guess people think they're gonna pick them up when they come back, and maybe some of them do, but some of them, I don't. think
I've been
they
hearing
do
that there's a ton of just dog poop bags.
on
It
Sullivan.
might be cat poop, maybe? I don't know, we should assume.
We should
Yeah.
be, that's true, we should be inclusive.
Stereotype,
We should
might
be
be
inclusive.
stereotyping.
Could be guinea pigs.
Is
I
there,
mean, I will
Inclusive
say,
of
I mean, the people, I mean, I have left and come back, but that's, I feel like most of it is people that are just, they're not coming back.
they're not intentionally. Is there an option to do a pilot at more than one location?
I think so.
I would just be curious, inside of Wild Dunes,
Are you, so
where you
I
get a lot
thought
more
about you,
renters, there's a
but-
lot more renters inside of Wild Dunes, percentage-wise, than there are outside, I believe, that to be true, condos and everything. I'm just curious if we'd see a different behavior pattern with visitors that are here renting versus visitors that are day tripping.
That's a good point.
Are you, I feel like your path is the 58th path?
No, it's Beach House. The
Beach
property-
House,
property,
okay. Yeah, okay. Is that one, so we didn't want to do one that was so heavily utilized that it would really upset the apple cart? Is that
Yeah.
one, do you feel like it would be okay to try that one too?
There's 4 cans there on the beach. I don't know, I think it'd
Do
be
they
worth
get
it.
full?
They do,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're there daily?
pretty much, yeah, I can be.
I think that would be, I think that would be useful to
They
see
can
if there's
also,
a,
you can also be up on like the path up by Mariners Walk or Shipwatch, one of the condos where they've got 2
Or the
cans.
high-rise, one of the high-rise condos,
Yeah, there's 2 or 3
yeah,
cans at the end of their
Shipwatch or
access.
Sea-
Move it up to the
Seascape.
parking lot. It'd have to be on the beach side of the building, not on the street, not on Palmetto, so that they could access it before they go back to their rooms, but
You know, I just want to make an interesting observation, because I go out from the Turtle Walk, I go out Ocean Point. And so I meet Holly, and she lives in Ocean Point, and we go out. They do not have a trash can
at all at that
They
one.
took it away.
They
took it
because seemed
away
hard to get around that
because it
point.
was
Yeah, they
too
couldn't
hard.
get around.
Yeah.
And there's stuff on the beach,
not much.
but not much. And I don't know if the people that rent in Ocean Point are just more, environmentally conscious or what the deal is. But I take a plastic bag with me every week, every Thursday morning, this morning, to make sure and there's very rarely much
seen
of
it.
anything, and they have no trash bin at all. So just an observation, it's just so weird that here we have all these cans,
Interesting.
and yet people are just,
I know the turtle
Ignoring them.
volunteers who walk the next section below you, the real horror story is around the
Yeah.
boardwalk in and the sweetgrass in,
Yeah.
because they just leave towels and everything out.
Everything
It's
out,
just
yeah.
horrible. They can't even clean it up. Our volunteers who like to clean up, they just can't put a dent in it. And I think the hotel needs to step up there, but that's whole nother issue.
Have we tried, or are we doing sponsor a right away? We've tried that, right? Like you do,
Beach
like-
access path.
Yeah, like sponsor it, and then, so that person
OCRM did
polices it, okay.
OCRM did it. I think it's defunct now. We did talk a little bit about, the commercial area has such a problem. Technically, those properties extend out to the high tide line. Should we be encouraging them to just have their landscaping crew that's dealing with a lot of times dealing with the property, just go out the beach access and clean that portion up as well? We've talked a little bit about that, but we think that the condo owner would say that is all public beach. We might own out to the mean high water mark, but we have no special say in it. It's clearly the public, so.
Because you see that like DOT on the roadsides, you see it other places sponsored by, like, maybe we can go to the Chamber of Commerce, maybe some of the local businesses would sponsor, right, like, say, I'm on
a
27,
cleanup, yeah.
sponsor it, and then maybe as an
Adopt
incentive.
a beach
And
section.
as an incentive, maybe
Instead of
we
adopt a
provide.
highway, it's adopt a beach
Yeah,
section.
and maybe what we do is, we have a recognition award, or you have an annual picnic for the spot, something to incentivize people to take ownership of their right-of-way, but not with a stick, with a carrot.
Yeah, OCRM
A lot
had
of
it with
people
the
like
beach
carrots.
access paths, and you got your name on the back.
Oh, you tried that, we tried this?
Some of those signs are still out there.
Some of them are
On
still.
Ocean Boulevard, where
Yeah.
I live. Yeah.
Okay, I think we probably,
So we're gonna do 2 pilots,
Right.
everybody good with that?
I would
And
love
we'll-
to see that.
two pilots, okay.
2 pilots.
Yeah.
Todd, we need to figure out, so with 25th, we know how we'll empty those cans. I don't know at Wild Dunes if they would be in a place that could be just placed out for collection by,
I can talk
Public
to the
work.
board, the community association, and see if there's something we could do there.
so that would be the only challenge that I could think of in
Yeah.
your areas. They wouldn't be in a place that our public works staff would be regularly servicing.
What street? What access?
It's across from the property owner's beach
Property
house,
owner's beach.
yeah. Yeah, so
Right in the middle of the-
there'd have to be some space right there on Palmetto at the entrance
Right.
to that access. Okay,
So before we do it,
I'll talk to the
look into it and let me know.
community association, okay.
And do you also want to communicate with Susan?
I am,
Yeah, okay. All right.
It's amazing, there's probably a couple of us who can remember back when we had the litter in the 70s, give a hoot, don't pollute, the Indian crying about the sun. And here we are 50 years later, and we're still.
Still talking about it.
Still
Yeah.
talking about it, but,
Yeah. I think we probably need to move on here because we've got several things to get through on the agenda. The next item was for water quality. So
two and a half years later, and we're almost there.
do you want to give
No,
us
we're-
an update
yeah,
on what's
I'll do it-
happening with
I think we
that?
can do it real quick. So the plan was approved by the council.
Okay.
We lost a week, we lost some time with continuity with GEL, but we got a revised proposal, which was within our budget and actually lower than what we did with the contingency. So we have a approved plan. I'm supposed to go out and help select which outfalls we're going to sample. If anyone wants to participate in that, talk to me after. And, but they'll be ready to go, assuming we sign their agreement, they'll be ready to go in a couple of weeks.
So we've signed that, I think they have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the revised, I sent it to you guys, it's about 7,400, so we had, I think, 85 with contingency. So what happened was, they came back with a $11,000 bid, but that's because that was the old sample plan. So the work we did as a team to kind of
Reduce it.
squish it
Uh-huh.
down.
Condense it.
And so I think we're in good shape. So we're gonna select the outfalls, and then it'll be up to GEL to come out and do the sampling.
Okay.
It may take a couple of different events, but
I
we're.
wish we could have used the one this Tuesday.
Yeah, we've had a couple of good ones, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, I think we're in execution mode, so.
Okay,
okay, good,
all right, great.
great.
Any update on climate action?
So council, you'll recall this group sent a recommendation to city council to
Resolution. Yeah.
to have a resolution in support of the county council adopting their climate action plan. City council approved that resolution. It's been sent to the county. I think that their vote is the end of this month, yeah.
Same as ours. So
Yeah,
same
it's the same night as our, July 23rd, so they have that resolution of support, and we'll see what happens. But council was appreciative of it and took your lead and made that recommendation. And I will forward the packet that you should have already had, which has that resolution in it.
Okay.
So this is for climate, a policy or our position on?
This is in support, asking the county council to adopt their own proposed climate action plan.
So our city
Belvin-
council will make an endorsement asking them.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
So we think it's good. Belvin worked on the development of that plan, and
Fantastic.
he made a suggestion that we suggest to our city council to support it, which they did.
That's fantastic.
There was comments,
Yeah.
I didn't see your reply, so I'm not sure if
You know,
that's the same email.
I made a reply to Jim.
To Jim, she did. I
Yeah,
saw your.
and you know what? Your email, it came back, yours did not get delivered.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine and
And-
his are still not
And,
operational.
Something wrong, yeah. Well, y'all would do it.
Okay.
We never.
What's your,
Todd, yours is still
Yeah, Mine's
hanky?
working. I think you still have you sent the packet to my
Mine's
personal email, and when you responded, for some reason, it's not to that. So we need to get my IOP.
I did
email.
that. I changed my distribution group to take all
So
out your mind.
I think going forward,
that.
that'll fix it, because when people respond, it'll be to
Mine
that
is
same
still,
one.
because Mary tried to send me through the IOP.
Yeah, I
and-
tried to reply to all, and theirs bounced back.
Right.
There's two of them.
I think it's
So
because it's
you
still,
two
When
and
we were
our
talking about
student
the
rep.
website.
I think it's still
I
going to
just forwarded
personal.
it to you. Test it, see if it goes.
To her.
To her
IOP,
Gmail, to her Gmail.
But it
So this
should be
so this
your IOP.
It's my
Yeah.
IOP address,
That's
is
the
what we're
problem.
talking
So you
about.
did get it at your Gmail?
I got it
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the Gmails.
Just one
Should be
quick
able to
question
fix
too
that.
regarding climate action. I know we received the approval for the funding for the solar panels for the Public Works building. I was just curious about where we are in that process, what's happening with that.
Yeah, we started the bid this week, so we're getting that worked on, hopefully get it out, I think next week, right, Douglas? At
Yes.
some point.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Yeah, so we're in there's a lot of kind of strings attached to a grant that funnels down from the federal government, as you can imagine. So we're getting that, we're trying to be sure all our bases are covered with the federal kind of requirements, but that should be out here relatively soon.
Great.
So the reply to Mr. Smiley, which I did not see, in a nutshell, what was the answer?
So I just replied from my personal perspective, and so one of the things that I talked about in my reply was, that things we had talked about in our meetings were related to solar, were related to replacement of city vehicles where possible with electric vehicles, some things along those lines. I can show it to you.
guess
I still have it.
Let me
I
ask
still
you a
have the
question
response,
differently,
yeah.
because maybe I'm trying to remember the email. I thought he was asking,
How would we support, what would we suggest?
You want me to read, Phil? I've
well, I
got the
thought it was
letter.
It was a
what's
mis-
the economic impact of our recommendation to council to back this Charleston
Oh,
County?
I
thought
wasn't.
that's what it was.
I didn't focus on the economic impact. I think I focused on what would we recommend to city council as far as how to meet the requirements of the climate action plan. the
Yeah. I
Charleston
think we're
County
saying the same
Climate
thing. What would be
Action
the cost to do that? I thought that's what he was saying. but-
No,
I didn't-
no, he
no, I
wanted to
think it
know
was,
what kind of work could be done. He was specifically working with the GCG emissions by 2050, because that was the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 60% of the year 2020 value by 2035, and 100% reduction, net zero, of GCG emissions by 2050. Following the recommendations, Isle of Palm signed on to the cap targets. And assuming that the draft cap is passed by county council, what must the city of Isle of Palms actually do to achieve our fair share contribution of the county's targeted GHG emissions? It wasn't contribution money-wise, but what are we going to do to reduce the emissions?
Yeah, I'm saying it differently, but I think it's the same concept. The city has to do something, and when you do something, it costs money. So I was interpreting that as like, what
Yeah,
are you asking the city to do, and how much is that going to cost that goes behind this
Yeah.
recommendation? And
I
I think it's both.
It's
I think
both.
it's
So
too.
we're signing on and saying, we're going to contribute to a 60% reduction. So the first question is, to what percentage? Like, that means we have to do 60%, everybody has to do 60? And then it's going to be,
What does that
based-
mean?
what does that mean?
Yeah.
Solar,
Yeah.
it's both.
Yeah, so what I was thinking too about,
Because you create these things, but you have to take action.
if we're
to
gonna
achieve
have-
the numbers.
if we're going to have more electric vehicles, is the city going to invest in infrastructure to support that? Because you have to have charging stations available. I was also wondering about reducing.
Vehicles first.
Yeah, and the vehicles have to be purchased. And then also converting, just something, in my mind, simply leaf blowers that are currently gas emitting pieces of equipment to electric blowers. And again, what kind of a cost would that entail?
The city of Charleston is in the process, or has been doing that through their parks group.
Right, I know that.
Belvin has.
So back to the, I'm sorry, we're getting off topic a little bit. I was trying to figure out if Mr. Smiley was suggesting that, can we, as a committee, should we, as a committee, not just make a recommendation, but also think through what that recommendation entails? I thought that's what
I
he
think
was saying.
that's what he was saying.
Absolutely.
I think that's what
And
he was
I
saying.
think that's something that we might want to consider for another meeting,
Yeah,
is
okay.
what kind of, what steps might we recommend to help achieve the goals of the Climate Action Plan here on the Isle of Palms. And those would, I mean, we serve as an advisory capacity, so it's, that I think it would be
Yeah, I
appropriate
think
to do that.
it'll be very, very helpful to have Belvin here for that discussion.
Oh, yeah, oh,
And
yeah.
we should probably, and it might be good to get copies or
Yeah.
have available what Charleston is doing as examples of the different things that are happening.
And something that the folks at Seaman Whiteside have talked about is some, I call it like low-hanging fruit, some things that would be, relatively easy to implement. Would there be changes in some of our ordinances, our existing ordinances, that could be more climate-friendly? And with regards to, maybe the lot size, the amount of coverage of a lot, or planting more trees.
More trees.
Because the tree roots absorb more water, so it also helps, it provides shade, it helps with drainage, it helps with, multiple,
Yeah.
it helps to absorb the
Yeah,
carbon
that's-
dioxide in the atmosphere, and so that it could serve a number of purposes. And so I think it would be appropriate for our group to start thinking about that and what kind of recommendations we'd want to make. And I think some of them would be, maybe a little bit easier than others.
Yeah.
And some of them would not, I don't think, maybe require a lot of financial outlay. And I think as far as our ordinances are concerned, they could be constructed in such a way as to, incentivize people to take these steps when they are building or doing remodeling or whatever it might be.
It was interesting because that was one of the recommendations we made that didn't make it into the Charleston, was to review all building codes and ordinances and bring them up to date with best practice of GHG. And it didn't make the list. But is that something, what is that, weren't we doing a review of our ordinances for something else?
Constantly reviewing the ordinances. And I think there is I think in the county's climate action plan, that is one of the recommendations,
Yeah,
is to adopt local building codes and development codes that help
Yeah.
address.
Yeah, I think that's really important because it said, your note said 68% of the GHGs are from buildings, which is,
Right, so that came from the greenhouse gas inventory that was done in
Mhm.
2020 and published, and I was really surprised that such a large percentage of greenhouse gases came from buildings.
it has to be what they call, I would think it's probably what they call scope 2, which is the electrical consumption. You take how much electricity you use and you convert that into greenhouse gas carbon
Right.
Yeah,
equivalents.
that's what Belvin said, the size of our homes is what.
It's the size of the
The size
homes
of
and it's,
homes
and it's
and-
the type of electrical, we're
Yeah.
using heat pumps, whatever, but I don't want to get too
Well, and when you
detailed.
replace a heat pump, you have the opportunity to replace that with one that's more energy efficient, and that,
Mhm.
so that's
Doors,
helpful.
glass,
That helps.
right now with all the new products out there, doors have different, they're new, 4 different, I just bought a new door. You can get different types of, keeps the heat in when it's cold, when you're cold, when in the winter, and keeps the cool in when you're, so there's a lot of things that we can do. There's a
Right.
lot of new products out there. I think it's a great idea, and
Yeah.
I would even be willing to, and I know this is might be asking too much, is have a special working group meeting if we wanted to go that route. Because it's always hard to get through everything, every meeting we have.
Well, I was thinking that Belvin was on the ground floor of the development of this plan.
Yeah, he would be,
probably
he's really the
has-
most knowledgeable
Oh,
person
yeah.
we have, I think, probably on our
And he would
committee.
have the point of contact
Yeah.
with the plan to come talk to this group about, now, assuming it gets approved
Mhm.
at the end of this month, come to us and say, is there low-hanging fruit that we could recommend to the council
Yeah, it
and
could
or
be-
programs we could implement? I think the native
Yeah.
plants was a good example. of
Right,
just things
exactly,
that-
yeah.
It could be as simple as
rain
taking the
gardens.
county plan and
Rain
we just go
gardens,
through and
right.
redline the stuff we're not going to do, and then republish it as our plan, so, but
Okay.
do- I know we're-
support your idea, whatever.
Thank you, yeah. I know we're running a little short of time here, so I wanted to just touch on new business. The discussion of which issues should include on the website was an item on the agenda. Douglas, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I don't know, and I've talked to Chandra a little bit in terms of where we are with that.
Mhm.
I don't think that she's crystal clear on if, and I know, Mary, I think you've been sending her articles.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those
Are-
are just kind of news articles in the thing about the garden and about the turtle, things we wanted the public to know, do's and don'ts. But-
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the bullet points, because I think it, is more concise.
I felt like this
And I don't
group
know if she's
was,
gonna leave those on and replace them with the bullet points, or
Are
what.
we-
And I've got plenty of pictures, but I was just gonna talk to her about that.
is somebody on point with working with Chandra on
So we
the
had,
content?
Todd and I had talked about, I think you were on that correspondence with Chandra where we were wanting to kind of get together as, with a couple of people and just, kind of share ideas. And I think she was more interested in us providing information for her. She and I had a phone conversation, and I provided her with an outline of topics that we would like to cover and what we would like to see come from this group. And then potentially we could add other environmentally related issues to the website as well. But she's gotten information from Mary, she's gotten some information from me, and I think that's about it. But I have not had questions from her.
I think I don't think she knows kind of.
I'm not sure how to help. You know what I mean?
I think she is not an environmental
Right.
type, so I think she kind of would like to get from this group,
Uh-huh.
here are the pages we would like. Within this page, we would like this topic
Yeah.
covered with this
Yeah.
verbiage.
Yeah,
In
and I
this
thought we
page,
did, that, but I can touch base with her to
Okay.
just,
I kind of felt like that was in a limbo, so.
yes.
I think that's kind of what her expectation is, like, these 3 tabs, on these 3 tabs, these items,
Right.
this verbiage.
Right.
She can make it pretty, she can add photos.
Yeah.
she can Put it all together,
Right.
but she wouldn't be the one to kind of author the content.
Right, and we can do that. I mean, I'm happy to do that. And I actually sent her that presentation that I did for city council about the work of the environmental committee, which was, done in, like with bullet points and that kind of thing. And
Oh,
some
okay.
pictures
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that to kind of
Okay.
help give us a sense of what we might want to do, how we might want to approach it. But I'm happy to communicate with her
Okay.
about that.
Should I go ahead and send her I
I
didn't
would.
send her any of my bullet points, but
I would send them, yeah.
I mean, I feel like we should have a page, you should have, the page, and then you'd have a page on shorebirds, turtles,
Right, and that's,
Litter,
yeah.
And
like
I've got,
water.
Well, yeah,
like,
I
on
mean,
all
what
the
are our
things that we've
pillars?
talked about.
We've got wildlife, we've got
we
litter.
gave, we
we've
gave
got-
that to her. I think
Got a
Laura has
page for
it.
each thing, but some of the pages like water quality.
Don't
and
have
climate
anything-
action are blank.
Right,
And
they
it
don't
says.
have-
If someone tells me-
something will appear here, something.
Right.
Someone
So we
tells me
need
what
to-
the syntax or the outline is, I'll do the water. Someone just
And I
tells me
can
what,
do-
what
I think
we-
just-
it's 5 bullets
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
So do you want me to resend that to the committee members, what we came up with? Okay,
I'm happy to,
okay.
whatever the,
She
just
just
tell me the
needs-
format and I'll provide content.
She just needs to know what to put on each page, is
Yeah.
basically what.
yeah.
Right.
What I tried to do was just hit the high points and put
Yeah.
a bullet point by each one. I put an introductory paragraph and then this is what we want people to know.
So what I'll do is,
What we've done.
for what I'll go back, we'll take our objective and then we'll mention our sampling plan. And then when we're done with sampling, we can put the results up.
Yeah,
Very simple.
okay. And then, Laura, did you want to update us on the farmer's market? Or
We had a
Matt,
really
or-
successful table specifically with the compost bins. Matt brought out, how many?
At about 50? Yeah, close to 50, I think.
And
They
we
all
gave,
in?
They
Half
They
of
all
them.
give half?
Half of
Okay.
them.
I
yeah.
put the
good.
rest in the room upstairs.
great.
I brought them back. Ironically, and I had this is what I can pare this down for Chandra, but I had flyers available for information, do's and don'ts for septic. And then she provided me with this little graphic, and I printed them out and put them on postcards and had these available. And ironically, most of the people that came up to the table were not on septic. So I didn't have a lot of success in handing things out because they were like, no, we're on sewer. And I'm like, good, I'm glad to hear it. So, but I did have many of all of this available. I can pass this
Yeah.
around so you can see. And I included all of the septic tank service companies that you
I saw
all
that, yeah.
gave me. So,
Yeah.
and what I'm happy to do, as I said, is pare this down. And we have our next one next week.
Thursday.
Next Thursday. So we'll be out again. We found
Where
out,
where was the table? I didn't.
it was
'cause I looked for
right
you
near
guys.
the, actually near the rec center entrance.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to be a little bit further down from there this time, but we'll pretty much be in the same area. But we ended up getting a table, but it was because the person who was supposed to have the table didn't show up.
Oh.
And we found out, oh, well, no, we weren't going to provide you with a table. So
Oh,
we're
do you
going to have to, we're going to have
bring
to
your- bring
bring
your own
our own
table?
table and chairs, yes,
Oh.
yes. So.
Is this the farmer's market? you're
The
talking?
farmer's market, next Thursday from 4 to 7, so we'll be there. And I'm sure it's going to be a little bit warmer than it was last month, but
You think?
there's a little bit of shade. But I felt it was, we had a really good reception.
Yeah, and Megan offered to join this next one too for
Oh,
the smart
good.
recycling, so she could help
Oh,
promote it
good.
a little better than,
Oh,
yeah.
good, that's great. So, yeah. And I guess that kind of also could segue me into the compost liners.
Go ahead.
She
Sure.
got back to me, and the good news is that they can help us with the maintenance of the compost liner stations, if you will. Let me get my email here. So what it would be 2 liner dispensers, one at each location, and it would be the larger dispenser, which each one dispenses 1,300 liners.
Wow.
And this is a picture of what it looks like.
Not too different than the animal.
Yeah. And so the cost of the dispensers, the total, they're $95.26 each. So the total cost for the dispensers would be about $191. And then for an ongoing cost of $110 a month, they would supply and service the dispensers on our currently scheduled visits to the two sites, which is twice a week for each.
Okay.
So we'd be looking at, a little over $1,200, $1,300 a year. She said, I'm estimating that you'll go through one case of liners every 2 months. I'm basing that off the number of residents that have signed up for the program and said that they utilize the IOP sites, with some room for growth based on the number of interested residents we've met at recent events and will likely sign up this summer due to the bin giveaway at the local farmers market. So she did want to build in a caveat to revisit the number of times that they would go. She said, after we've had a few months to evaluate the service, we are willing to increase or decrease the monthly amount based on the usage. We would like to review this on a quarterly basis and update pricing as needed.
That seems reasonable to me. You all think that?
So
Sounds
if you all,
What is the cost of the program?
so the
$100 a
two
month.
dispensers,
100,
about $191, and then it's $110 a month.
Oh, no, what are we paying currently for them to?
We don't have any dispensers. These are the liner dispensers.
Right, but they do service the bins.
They,
Same
Yes.
company that does the bins.
yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
So do
So what
they,
is our current, what
I
are we
think it's a little more
currently?
than that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what are we
$200
currently
What are we,
spending
what are we paying them right now?
so it's 200?
I think it's close to 200, yeah, I was gonna look at the
per,
receipt.
per month?
Yeah, per month.
200 per month.
And
So
that's
this would be-
to empty the dispenser.
Correct.
Just
The-
empty
The
the
two
bin.
sites,
The
yeah.
bins.
Okay.
Okay. So we would be looking at an additional, so that's $2,400 a year.
Yeah.
And then 110 times 12 is,
Yeah, we haven't, how are we doing on that? Are the bins filling up?
I haven't heard any yet, I think so. No
Yeah.
change.
They're tying the bags up and leaving them on the beach access.
Inside a folded chair? Next to the
Yeah.
next to the broken surfboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if that bolsters the program and kind of makes it tidier, I guess it makes your bin not get as nasty, so.
exactly. And I will tell you, I had an actual issue with a person who picked up one of our free bins and then called me in a panic because she didn't read the flyer fully. And so she went to the bin and it was locked, and she didn't have a liner. She was wanting to just dump her bin, and I said, no, you can't do that. You have to have liners, and we talked about that at the table. You can order them online, and I said, we're actually on the process of trying to get them installed so that they would be there for you, but you can't just dump your raw garbage into.
I've seen raw stuff. dumped
Have
in
you?
there
I actually
without a
thought you
bag.
could do
Yeah,
that.
plenty
I
of
didn't know that.
times.
You have to have.
You're
it on.
really
I think I've
supposed
taken
to.
my little
I thought you
bag,
did too.
Yeah, you're really
which is
supposed to.
leaking.
Well, we
Yeah.
certainly need the liners then.
Yeah, we really do,
All
because it's, yeah.
Of course,
the-
they have a big liner for the whole can.
Yeah.
But all the little bags.
Each one is
Yeah.
supposed to be in there.
Yeah, they're really supposed to be, and it makes it.
So you get the liner, you
Sure.
take it home, fill it, then you fill it up, and when it's full, you bring it over and
Yeah.
throw it out.
Right, exactly,
It's
right.
250, I saw.
So,
And I was telling people
Yeah,
that,
so-
if, to cut down on fruit flies, you can keep your bag in the freezer or refrigerator.
Keep your,
Yeah, until it's full, until you're ready to drop it off,
And
and that way you don't end up with all the fruit flies.
Make sure it's marked.
yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.
And then it's nice.
Well,
Okay.
we can make that happen. We'll
for dinner.
reach out to her and
Okay.
organize that.
You want me to send you her email?
Yeah.
I got it, yeah.
You've got it, you've got
Sure,
it now,
yeah.
right, okay. Do we need to make any kind of a recommendation on this?
I mean, as long as you all think it's worthwhile, it sounds like it.
It sounds like it's
Matt
part of the
says it's
program.
currently $250 a month, so this would add, I mean, it is percentage-wise, a pretty decent increase, but it
It does
sounds like.
seem, it does seem like they're doing, what they're doing now with like actually picking up the actual trash for
For
200,
Yeah,
and it's $100 just for the
Well,
bag.
they're-
Like it does, the bags must be expensive. I'm guessing that's.
Yeah, and the bags, actually, yeah,
themselves
the
are
bags,
expensive.
yeah,
They're
the,
special.
So that's the
Four
seems like they
rolls.
undercharged us for the
Four-
They are-
initial service.
decomposing.
yeah, yes, they decompose.
Yeah.
4 rolls, the dispenser that they're recommending has 4 rolls with a total of 1,300 liners, and that would have been an additional $175 on top of the dispenser of $95. We would have
And
been
is
looking,
that, if you buy them online, is it, are they
I'm trying to
expensive also?
remember. I got
trying to remember.
a roll of them this big. And what was it? It was pretty reasonable, but I can't remember what it was.
But you have to make sure they're
That's,
biodegradable.
yeah, 1,300 liners is a lot.
It's
That's-
a lot.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
make sure they have
Yeah.
like that
Like
specific
50.
designation,
Yeah.
BPI certified.
Yeah.
Because a lot of folks, even that read through the sheet, don't necessarily realize that the liners, even though it says biodegradable, it's not commercially compostable, and then kind of makes
Throws
the
it
whole
off.
thing. Yeah.
Throws it off, yeah.
So it would definitely be beneficial to have it if we provided it. The one that Megan sent.
They'll be
Be the right
100% right.
Yeah, because there's a lot of really bad verbiage out there for biodegradable things that aren't.
So this would be just an additional service that our current provider would
Yeah.
provide? So why don't we challenge them and say, provide an amendment to your current bid where you're going to provide a turnkey service and give us a good price? Instead of taking them at,
I think they would add that number to our current number.
Does-
This is our
does-
good new
does-
price.
Doesn't hurt to ask, you know?
That's
You can.
It's the cost.
I'll let the city
Yeah.
be
Douglas-
the
Douglas-
negotiator.
They
He
can
I mean, because
do
I
that.
guess the question is cost benefit, right? How much, if these things are full every week they come out, then definitely, if they're half or a quarter full, we want to invest another
Yeah.
$250 a month just to collect a third of a container.
Well, it might make it a little more palatable to people too, if they have
It's true.
access to,
Well,
you know.
Yeah.
The easier you can
The
make things
easier make
sometimes,
things, yeah,
the
the
better.
easier you make
Response you get, yeah. So guys, let's go ahead and talk about our next meeting. So it's on the agenda for August the 8th at 4 PM. Did we meet in August? Did we meet in August last year?
We,
I think we
most
decided not to meet
groups
in
take
August last year.
take a month off.
Okay.
Planning Commission took off July. Certainly would not be, I think pretty much every group does take a month off in the summer. You all have worked so hard, you certainly have earned it.
And Douglas would like to have a
Certainly.
Thursday night off.
Take an hour back.
No, I mean, I think it would be fine. We don't have, we probably wouldn't have enough information with regards to the litter
Corrals.
to be able to make any,
Yeah, I think if we get
Recommendations at that
if we can get
point.
that started now, probably in September, that would be kind of
the time
the
to
time
talk
to
about that.
look at what we figured out.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion that we cancel the August 8th
You don't need a motion for that.
meeting. We don't? Okay, there we go.
So then, the next, Nicole, what would be the
Let's get it
next meeting date then if we wait until September to?
September.
September 12th, okay.
Ooh. My morning jacket and Nathaniel Ratliff for Credit One that night.
The night before, or the night
12th.
before would be a problem.
Yeah, I'll come to the meeting and then go to the concert.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so our next meeting then will be September the 12th at 4 o'clock. Is